Hello everyone, this is Scarzig and welcome back to another episode of Shardbound. Today, we're going back to Oathkeeper Juro. The yellow faction is the one that I've played the most, and it is the one that I most enjoy. This is a new deck that I cooked up a couple days ago because I wanted to explore what sort of late game options the faction had available to it. Juro is specifically seen as a aggressive, swarm the board type of general, right? And so I wanted to again see what sort of late game stuff I could come up with. They have a card called the Grand Worm Primal, which is 8 mana. You exile an opponent's minion. It gets destroyed, but it doesn't go to the graveyard, right? It just leaves the game completely. And then you summon a 7/7 in its place. And so this deck is based around just controlling the board to the late game, getting your Grand Worm Primal down, and then it's just a 7/7 sitting there, right? The Grand Worm Primal can't move, mind you. So it just sits there. And then we're going to try to use some movement manipulation stuff that I threw into the deck to try to get our opponent to walk into the Grand Worm Primal so that we can get some nice trades off. Pardon me. What's really nice about Grand Worm Primal is that because it summons itself in the spot of an enemy minion, you can often get it summoned into your opponent's spawn. And then once that happens, it's extremely difficult for them to summon things, right? Because it's every single hexagon around whatever you killed with the Grand Worm Primal can't be used to summon on, because then the Grand Worm Primal just eats it. So it's a really nice control tool, not only for destroying as removal, but also as zoning them from certain parts of the board. So Earburst we don't want. Bear Primal we definitely want to keep as a 1-drop. Strict Packmaster is interesting, but I think we actually want that to come back to us a little bit later. We'll see if we can make use of it. Because if we... Oh, and we get a 2-drop? Wow, this is really good for us. And Pack Awakener? Nice. So we're going to develop the Bear Primal.
I'm here.
Thinking about it here, I wanted to put the Bear Primal here. Petra's ranged, so when you are a ranged unit, you need line of sight, right, to hit. But the way high ground works is you can shoot from low ground onto high ground, but you can't see anything on the other side of the high ground. So normally this is a pretty safe spot, and you see it forced my opponent to go this way. But this is a little bit of a misplay on my part, because red has a unit called the Hound Charger. It's a 1-mana 3/1 rush. So he could have summoned it here, which is his spawn, and then ran it 3 to kill the Bear Primal, and that would have been a really bad trade for me. So I think that we're just going to step the Bear Primal back 1, and probably just continue to build up our side of the board.
Side by side.
I'll move here, and then get the Tribe Warrior developed. Because if my opponent wants to step onto this high ground to take advantage of her range a little bit more effectively, because if a ranged opponent gets onto high ground, then they can just shoot into your spawn willy-nilly. So we sort of want to just pressure the high ground. That's very important in this game, is to try to control that as much as possible.
I'm here.
Efficiency Expert into Raid Soldier, not too shabby. And yep, he goes onto the high ground here. Oh my god, I can actually do Pack Awakener. Actually, no. It only works on a Primal, so the Tribe Warrior isn't available for that. Tribe Warrior is not a Primal. Bear Primal is, but he's not in range. So we'll save that for some shenanigans a little bit later on. The other thing too is I kind of want to go with the Tribe Warrior to attack here. And then that just leaves the Tribe Warrior as a 5/1, unfortunately, and Petra gets to clean it up for free. So I think what I do is just run up with the Tribe Warrior, get my face damage in, and force him to make that trade. And then we can follow up with the Ancient Caller, maybe.
Let's try this.
Because the Pack Awakener is in this deck as like a surprise factor. If Tribe Warrior was a primal, I would totally do it to get the AoE damage in.
Okay.
Hunt's on.
Yeah, we're
Be
just
strong.
Let's do this.
what
I'm
the
here.
heck? It didn't summon for a second.
Gotta go
There we go.
fast.
And I really like this setup. We've got pack mentality. You choose a primal minion, you can add 2 copies of it to your hand. And this works with Grand Worm Primal, which is very important to note. We can just get a ton of them, and whenever our opponent develops something, we just kill it, replace it with a 7/7 of our own. Kill it, replace it with a 7/7 of our own. Late game, because Grand Worm Primal costs 8, you're just going to be one turn after the other, just developing a ton of these. Then it's only a matter of time till you draw into Ghost Primal, which is one of my favorite units. You summon it as Deep Strike, you can summon it anywhere, and it has Fear, so it makes adjacent units run away from it. So you use that to run an opponent's minion away. So that's really interesting. Instead of using the Raid Soldier to trade into the Bear Primal, he's trying to return a little bit of damage here. I actually appreciate that. Because he's like, okay, I'm going to force him to make the trade. That's kind of like what I did, right? I got my face damage in, and I forced him to make the trade. Now, we do have Pack Awakener, but that's not really enough value for me.
Yeah.
We can use the Ancient Caller to clear up the Raid Soldier.
Let's
And then
try
Bear Primal, this is important to note. Bear Primal has 2 attack when next to any hero.
Okay.
So the Bear Primal will still retain its damage boost when it's near Petra. So we get to one-shot the Census Master, and that's fantastic for us. I think now what I want to do is I'm going to play the Eagle Primal. Let me see, where do I want to place this thing? Now, it gets +2 damage when next to... it gets +1 attack when next to a friendly primal. So I think typically I'd want a ranged unit over here to pressure a little bit more from high ground. You know what? I was going to say I'll summon it nearby my general, but I think I am going to put it here. So that way I can get a ranged unit on this patch of high ground. And we'll just use our
Hunt's on. Yeah.
last little 2 mana to dash.
No more
And when you dash as Juro, you become a primal. So now my general procs all primal abilities like Pack Awakener and Strict Pack Master, for example. So that's really, really good. It gives your general a lot of utility to go in and mix things up. My opponent now is forced all the way back into their spawn.
I'm here.
Oh, that's rough. The Repair Foreman restores 3 health to all other friendly minions, but he wasn't able to get that off. He's developing it here purely as a just for tempo. Otherwise, I would just have the Bear Primal hit, which I probably could do at this point. Just have the Bear Primal hit face, and then just run away with my general and force him to make that trade. We do also have the Growler Primal to follow up with.
Let's
So I
do
think I just do that. I'm going to check his movement range real
Let's
quick.
do this.
Because I can Growler Primal,
Be strong.
run near him, and then have the Bear Primal go in. And that seems really aggressive. And I typically don't like to do that, because once you're so deep into your opponent's spawn, they can start summoning their minions behind you, and then you can't get away. And then it becomes like this they're like the more advantaged party in the face race. So I'm still going to do this play where I get the Growler Primal and the Bear Primal in there. I'm going to force him again to make this trade.
Claws
But
out.
I'm just going to run away with my general instead. Hopefully I can walk around here and link up with the Eagle Primal.
Go, go, go.
I think it's prudent for my opponent to trade in the Repair Foreman here and then hit... Oh, wow. Okay. He can move his general away and debuff the Bear Primal. That's really smart. Then Repair Foreman could make this trade.
No.
Frenzied Direhide. At the start of your turn, attempt to attack the nearest enemy. Fancy.
Go, Rupert!
That wasn't too... The Growler Primal was going to kill it anyway, so... It's kind of whatever. What's nice is that the Growler Primal will just be able to kill the repair form in here, and then the Frenzy Direhide will trade into it, even though it's only has 1 HP. So I get a really nice 2-for-1 almost, because it survives with 1 HP. That's really spot on. Do I want to develop alongside any of this? I could pack Mentality the Growler Primal, because he's getting pretty low here.
Let's do this.
Do I get a line of sight on him? No, this boulder blocks that line of sight.
Let's try this.
Yeah, so I think that based on what mana I have here, we're just gonna pack Mentality the Growler Primal.
Let's do this.
Because if I was in range, I'd probably pack Awakener and AoE this.
Okay.
Gotta go fast.
No.
Side by side. Ha! Let's do this.
No.
And I missed out on a little bit of damage there, because I realized that if I move the Growler Primal there, the Frenzy Direhide would just attack it, rather than crossing over these two spots to hit me. So I was actually safe in my approach here to stay away from the Frenzy Direhide. I could have strict pack mastered myself with my final 3 mana. And so now I've got... Oh my god. So now, here's our time to shine with the Pack Awakener and Strict Packmaster. Oh my god! Give me this value. Wait, do I have enough? Can I move far enough? 1, 2, 3. No, I can't move far enough. Okay, that's not a big deal. The Eagle Primal actually can do it, right? By Strict Pack Mastery goes up to a 3/3. Let's see.
Let's do this.
I can move him there. I can move my guy here.
Be strong.
Yeah, I'll take that.
Let's
Because
do
then
this.
the Eagle Primal gets buffed for being next to the General because I'm a Primal. And then we can Pack Awakener,
I'm here.
Eagle Primal, and Strict Packmaster, the
here.
Eagle Primal.
Let's do this.
Then we just attack the Exosuit. Oh, that's so good. Oh my god. So good. Now the Buccaneer actually gets to kill the Eagle Primal as well because it won't counterattack. I just need to do a little bit more damage. So we're going to get this hit in because we've got the Growler Primal in hand, remember? We used Pack Mentality on it, and it does 2 damage to the enemy hero for free. And it's pretty hilarious how this ended up being a much more aggressive game because of my draws. And even though I have the Grand Worm Primal in hand, I don't really need it. The Buccaneer's pretty cool. You can deal 1 damage to it. It's like a hybrid unit. You deal 1 damage as though it were ranged for free, and then it can still go in and melee stuff. But people were talking about how yellow is kind of in a bad spot, and as you can see, they're still really strong. But yeah, the
I'm here.
no body blocks. Oh, double body block. There we go. This is what I'm talking about, right? Where if I had gone in earlier and my opponent did a move like this, I would be totally screwed because I'm stuck between an 8-7 and a 2-4 and a 1-4 that I can't get past. And my units are all the way on the other side of the board and wouldn't be able to back me up. But I waited a few turns, waited for the perfect strike to get that Pack Awakener off, And so now I can just finish him with the Growler Primal.
I'm here.
That proves it. I'm
Go.
the strongest.
So that is that deck for you. Hopefully we'll be able to maybe get a maybe go up against a control deck, and that's where this deck basically, it's like against everything else you can be more aggressive, and having the Grand Worm primals and the other late game shenanigans I built into the deck available, it allows you to still hang with the control decks. Like I've got the Viper Fang primal, which is really strong in my opinion. So we're gonna throw these two. Do we want to keep Ghost Primal? No, we want to save that for later game stuff. But I think red is actually in a really bad spot. It's super hard to make them work because they don't have as much utility as the other factions. They trade their utility for just having like raw stats. And I've played red in the past, and like you're playing units that buff the stuff in your hand, and then you play even stronger units in follow-up turns. But when you have all of your stats concentrated onto one body, it's like you just get kited around. You get chump blocked by a lot of small stuff, or you can't close the distance before you get picked apart by a ranged unit. So it's like, yeah, you can amass this really huge army, but you can't keep up with all the shenanigans that your opponent is putting on the board, and then you can't close the distance on them. Plus Petra is ranged, and because ranged units don't counterattack, you can't really control the board as well as a melee unit. But Cultivator's interesting. He played it right here, of course, to pressure my spawn a little bit.
Side by side.
So I'm just going to go this route instead, and I can just play the Bear
I'm
Primal.
here.
And this threatens him. And this will be a pretty interesting match, considering we're up against a melee general. So we have to be a lot smarter about when we want to go face. Because ranged heroes, they they just get mollywopped, right? Because like they can hit stuff for free, but it's not worth it once your opponent closes that gap and there's stuff on top of you. Ooh, Census Master. After you summon a minion, you deal 1 damage to a random enemy in line of sight. And I'm fine with taking that damage. Because Varden can move 1, 2, 3, and I'll be on this tile to kill the Cultivator, so his general can't hit me, but the Census Master can probably ping me for another one because of whatever he summons next turn on 3 mana. Bear Primal is a primal, so we can get our Tribe Warrior developed, and that's just fantastic. That is definitely what we are going to do here. Our general's going to block line of sight here, which is important. I think we actually play the Tribe Warrior here to kind of get a pincer formation going, because the Census Master, 1, 2, 3, you see he can't actually move up onto high ground, and as I said, you can't shoot with a ranged unit to the other side of high ground. You have to be actually on it. So he's gonna go for this instead, get this free damage. Quote unquote free damage.
I'm here.
The Bear Primal moves here to kill it though, so he needs to move with his general here to body block. I think I Ghost Primal here, truth be told.
I'm here.
Bring me that Census Master. Yes! That's exactly what I wanted.
Let's try this. Yeah.
So now I can Bear Primal here. Here, I'm gonna just get the damage in. Tribe Warrior also gets to hit. So good for us right here. Excellent punish with the Ghost Primal. That unit is like really borderline. I've talked about that a lot, right? Where Ghost Primal is questionable strong, but he's getting out of there. He's just gonna run out of my spawn this way. The Stonecall Seedling has Deep Strike, so he can summon it in my spawn, and now he's gonna get a bunch of infinite 3/1s. But I've got Soul Shifter, which is
Let's try this.
it's just fantastic, I gotta say.
Okay.
Let's see. The Bear Primal can hit. And I can
Side
move
by
with my
side.
general. Then I can Soul Shifter the Stone
I'm
Call
here.
Seedling. So that my Ghost Primal
strong.
and my general can finish it off. That's so good for us. We're going on 5 mana next turn. Okay, we've got Ancient Caller. Oh, he conceded. Yeah, that was really nuts. We had like the perfect answer. Like the punish with that Ghost Primal to take out the Census Master. And you saw I moved my general in those units specifically in order to set that up, because I knew that he just, instead of moving the Census Master back and just being defensive with it, he was just going to get that free damage, what he thought was just going to be free damage, and then body blocking with his general so that it would be safe from the Bear Primal, and that just perfectly set him up for the Ghost Primal. That was just so good for us. But I think we can play one more, because I'm still trying to show off late game. It's only been 20 minutes, so I think we can squeeze in one more game with this deck. All of our matches so far have been on Broken Mesa as well. We haven't really been playing on the Reaver's Mire. And we'll see if our opponent can do something against us with red, because I have been experimenting with them as well, and it's just not working. And it's one of those things where I feel like I'm doing it wrong, where like my deck is bad, I'm not playing the faction the way it's meant to be played, because maybe you really do just hang back and develop just a huge army and then go in on your opponent when you have like such beefy dudes. There's no possible way they can deal with it no matter what damage they have. But I mean, you'd be surprised at what kind of like early game stuff your opponent can pull off while you're just hanging back and developing a bunch of minions, right? Oh my god. Our curve has just been so clutch this episode, and we're gonna learn
Claws out.
from our previous endeavors about where we want to summon our Bear Primal to keep it away from the Hound bot. And I believe it was here that I analyzed was the proper spot for Bear Primal, so it doesn't get taken out by Hound bot. And that's a 1 mana for a 1 mana if he really wants to control the board early. And I think that you would normally preserve that for later on in the game. And he's not even going to move. So maybe he is going that strat where he's just going to just turtle up on his side of the board and I won't be able to kill him. But if he does that, then Grand Worm Primal just destroys, just completely punishes that strategy. I could get the Eagle Primal up. I think that is what I want to do. If I summon the Eagle Primal over here to start fighting him, it forces his general to come down this way to get out of this line of sight. That might be what I do, because then all my other units can get across this larger patch of high ground, which is more direct into his spawn. So we'll see if the Eagle Primal
Side by side.
able to. Do I just keep it next to the Bear Primal? No. This is really tricky. But we're gonna do this.
I'm here.
And we're gonna body block in case of actually Hound bot can still come around this way, so that's a little bit of a misplay on my part. So I think we are gonna bring the Bear Primal this way. Next turn, we probably just develop the Tribe Warrior. He got his pot shot off. That's not too bad. That might be my issue, where I'm so used to playing yellow and being able to basically trade my HP to control the board. Factory bot. After you summon a minion, give it +1 attack. Huh. That's pretty cool. We'll just
I'm here.
Tribe Warrior.
Let's do this. Let's do this.
I'll move up. Eagle Primal.
Let's try this.
Again, we're trying to protect Eagle Primal from the Hound Charger. Factory Bot is something that we definitely want to take down. We had Soul Shifter, the other match, to swap with our opponent's artifact. They all have pretty strong effects. This is a little bit slow, right, for 2 mana.
I'm here.
But he gets some value out of it. The Royal Scout draws a ranged minion, so next turn he'll be able to start dropping stronger than normal ranged minions. I think that that's probably his strategy, is just to get a bunch of ranged minions on his side of the board that are just going to tear apart my forces as they try to close the distance. There is a unit in the game called Vibranium Knight that takes no damage from ranged attacks, and that's a reference to Captain America, if I'm not mistaken. His shield is made of vibranium, so he's just like blocking stuff. But the Tribe Warrior gets to kill the Royal Scout, which is kind of nice, I guess. We could cut down, which sets a minion's attack and health to 1. So then the Tribe Warrior lives as a 5/3, and theoretically Petra wouldn't be able to kill it. I could also Spirit Binder the Royal Scout. It binds itself to an enemy minion while either are bound, neither can act. And that makes it so that the Royal Scout wouldn't actually... it wouldn't counterattack the Tribe Warrior. I think that that is the route I want to take, because it gives me another body on board.
Yeah.
And then cut down is more for when I need to get my general out of a sticky situation. So strong. And now I have access to the Factory Bot next turn. He'll need to start summoning over and over again in this section in order to protect it. Still don't have access to
Okay.
Let's do this.
don't have a line of sight yet on my opponent, the Eagle Primal. But maybe I do. Instead of trying to close the distance here, maybe I do just leave the Eagle Primal on high ground and basically start denying this whole section for him to summon in, and then let the Spirit Binder and the Tribe Warrior do work. I'm always super paranoid about, again, crossing into my opponent's side of the board, because I feel like my opponent's had like a really slow start, and I feel like I'm not putting on enough pressure. We do have Moya Primal, which will be great to develop next turn. And we'll have 2 leftover mana. We'll be able to transform our general into a primal, get that started up for us. Like, the dash, being able to move that extra 2 spaces has really, really good utility. But, you know, getting to be able to turn your general into a primal is just so good. It's so good, because then instead of having to rely on minions on the board, your general becomes an extra, like, proc for all of those synergistic abilities that the primals enjoy. I am thinking about... I really want to see the... oh, yeah, you see he's doing this block here. Ooh, that's really good.
Let's do this.
Does Eagle Primal have a... Oh my god, yes, he has the line of sight on the Royal Scout. That's
Side by
huge. That's so good
Let's
for
do
us.
this.
Let's
I
do
can't even
this.
tell you, because he can break this damage shield,
Let's try this.
and then the and this is where I cut down
I'll put you in the dirt.
on the Royal Scout, so the Tribe Warrior can continue in. Do I pounce? I have the 2 mana. I think I just go for it, because right now we're just on a secret mission to kill the Factory Bot. And because I have so many bodies supporting me and my opponent's spawn, I don't feel so spooky, right, about actually being over here, because all of these tiles my opponent can summon a minion on, and he sort of forced his way down into this corner trying to protect the factory bot. Probably was best to just give up on it. But you saw we split our forces very, very smart, where we had the Eagle Primal pressuring him down towards this corner. So it basically forced him into the factory bot protection route, where that was his best bet, where I was pressuring all the summons on this side. So he was going to move down here regardless, so I wasn't going to take pot shots at him. In this game, ranged units don't counterattack at all, even versus other ranged units. Oh god, my opponent might concede here.
Target locked.
Hard. Oh, I didn't even see that appear. Queen's Guard, you can choose to become ranged or gain +2/+3. He decided to give it bonus stats, and then it gets +1 from the factory bot. So, Spirit Binder can attack here. Take out the factory bot. That way the Tribe Warrior can get more damage. Actually, it's better for me to use the Tribe Warrior to kill the Queen's Guard. My 5/1 gets to trade into the 6/7, and then the Eagle Primal finish it off. That's so good for us. Holy crap. And then we've got Bear Primal.
Be strong.
I get to close the distance. And this is the other thing. It might just be...
I'm here.
Another Eagle Primal? Dear Lord. It might just be the fact that red is ranged. Because it's like because they need to have their units get buffed and then drop, and then, you know what I mean? It makes them a little bit slower in nature, and being ranged just destroys your early game, right? We saw a little bit earlier. Well, actually, no, that was a different game, where blue is a ranged unit. Orange is also a ranged general, but they have a lot of spells and stuff that give them early game control. And red doesn't really have a lot of good early game units. They have to rely on those hound bots I was telling you about earlier that can charge and basically deal damage to stuff to kind of control the early game. But my opponent, I think, just had really slow draws here. Now he's backed all the way into the corner because Growler Primal summons next to the enemy hero, effectively having Deep Strike. Yikes. Eagle Primal is not going to have a sight line on this. Definitely gonna Moya Primal.
I'm here.
We're gonna pack mentality the Growler Primal. We just get that bonus damage. See. I think I do. Let me see. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 on the Eagle Primal. I think I really do just take this 8 damage like a man. Or do I just trade in the Bear Primal? No. I'll take the hit. And you see he's next to my General, who is a Primal, and the Growler Primal, and the Bear Primal. Anyway. And now he's on a clock.
Be strong. Let's do this.
My opponent right now, again, is on a clock because I only have 8 damage each turn to possibly... Actually, I've got 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, so I actually do have lethal on board because the Eagle Primals can still take pot shots into this corner. But you see, red doesn't actually have anything that lets them come back onto the board. They just have to summon a bunch of their own units, like the Valiant Spelljammer just now, where it forced me to trade a little bit of my board into it. And if I didn't have such an overwhelming presence on the board, that probably would have been a little bit more devastating for me. But it's really crazy to see that this deck is still like I wanted to say it was a controlled deck, but I guess it's more appropriate to say that it's just a mid-range deck with some control tools, with some late game tools in it in case the game drags long. Because I'm just doing what comes naturally. Yellow is quite strong. I think that has to do with the fact that they're cutting down the card collection in preparation for its for the early access on Steam. They pretty much have the collection narrowed down to what cards are going to be in the game when it launches. And so this has allowed players to refine their decks. Let's see here. Oh my god, the Moya Primal. Let me see. I can do 4, 8.
Let's do this.
Do I have a line of sight? No, I don't. The Queen's Guard actually denies the line of sight here. Wait, no, I can just Eagle Primal here and then move my other Eagle Primal here.
Be strong. Let's do this. Let's do this.
Let's try this. Okay.
The alternate play,
Let's do this.
I can actually have the Moya Primal take that thing and move it this way.
Let's do this.
And then attack if I want, but I actually don't want to. Oh wait, and then I can have the Bear Primal move. Wow, look at this utility. I forgot. I keep forgetting that you can attack and then move in this game. Like, I really almost let him live for another turn. But yellow also has that find the lethal puzzle aspect built into it. I'm extremely likely. I've already recommended this game to several friends. But it's been 36 minutes. Thank you for stopping by. I will see you next time, and you have a good one.